Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. The Texas Longhorns getting it done again in the 2024 high school recruiting trail, landing one of the top interior offensive linemen in the class, Daniel Cruz. And you take a look at what Texas has been doing on the recruiting trail. It just seems like it's such a momentum game, right? 3 weeks ago, we're talking about Texas only having 3 commits in their class. And then in the last 3 weeks, they're just absolutely racking it up. I've been having a blast talking with you guys. So we're going to talk Daniel Cruz, what he's going to bring to this Texas Longhorns team. And then we're going to talk about what this 2024 class could look like, give you guys some updates from what I'm hearing and reading about some of these top prospects for the Texas Longhorns. Now, before we get into it again, I just want to say thank you to you guys. I've had a blast talking Texas football. We just talked Jarrett Gibson this weekend. Now we're talking Daniel Cruz. You guys have been just so supportive. So again, if you do enjoy the content, you enjoy the updates, consider subscribing to the channel. I've had blast on the hookums in the comment section with you guys. And without further ado, let's get into Daniel Cruz. And this is one of those guys where you kind of shop around recruiting services. There's kind of a wide variety of how this kid is evaluated. I will tell you this. You look on 3 or Rivals. He's a top 200 kid, in some cases, top 150 nationally. But you look at how the Power 5 teams evaluate him. I mean, offers like real Ohio State was going after him. A&M was going after him. Oklahoma was going after him. This is a really big win for the Texas Longhorns. And it's a guy that a lot of Power 5 teams wanted. And shout out Kyle Flood. And I think this is a really important position group for Texas to kind of add some physicality, depth, and talent to as they go to the SEC. Kyle Flood, in the last couple cycles, I mean, you remember DJ Campbell, Kelvin Banks. He's doing a really good job building this class, and there's a couple offensive line prospects in this class that I think are trending towards Texas, but I want to talk about Daniel Cruz first, and we're going to get into his film. This dude, kind of like Nate Kibble, who we talked about a little bit ago, who's a 3-star who just committed to Texas, a little bit of a squattier frame, right? 6'3.5", 300 pounds, very good feet, and extremely physical. And it also brings you that tackle guard versatility. Like I kind of think Kyle Flood and the Texas Longhorns have him slated as a guard. I would too. That being said, at the high school level, he's played a lot of tackle, and having guys that can go play inside and outside, very, very beneficial when it comes to having depth on that offensive line. Let's get into Daniel Cruz's film. This is a really fun. We talk about mean, and we talk the same thing with Nate Kibble. Like, these guys that Texas is going after are just mean dudes who have some just nastiness to them. What you're going to see, I like most about Daniel Cruz is how physical he is and how physically imposing he is, but with the feet. Like, he's really good at working up to the second level, picking up linebackers, pulling around. They ask him to do a lot of different things, and he's good at all of it. But when it comes to pinning his ears back, getting in some of those down blocks, there's not many better than Daniel Cruz, and kind of has the ideal body. Here you see him playing tackle, and you're going to see the feet, like very comfortable mirroring and edge defenders, which is when you talk about translating that to pass pro in the interior offensive line, doesn't seem like the feet are at all going to be a problem. But this dude is built. He has a very, very strong anchor, looks already really physically developed, and you see him working up to the next level. That's kind of what separates him, in my opinion. Like, if we run that last one back, like, that's really hard to do for a big guy to get to the second level, pick up a linebacker, and put him in the dirt. And that's exactly what Daniel Cruz is doing. Pops a big run, that running back makes that safety miss, is going to the house. And so Daniel Cruz, lots of like what he brings to the table, but I think the biggest thing is just an absolute nastiness. Here you see him pulling around again, picking up a linebacker, checks off a lot of the boxes. And you talk about just blue chip prospects. Daniel Cruz just feels like a guy that won't miss. Like, I don't know if he'll be an All-American, but he's going to be a damn good starter at some point for the Texas Longhorns. I think they got a really, really good one in Daniel Cruz. And again, a lot of the other Power 5 teams wanted a kid like Daniel Cruz as well. The amount of pancakes he is, it like a help. You see him helping the guy out. Like, puts him in the dirt. What is he gonna? He's gonna offer to help him up. He's a good guy too. But again, this dude plays absolutely mean. Let's take a look at where we're sitting with this Texas class. And again, this is the 8th commitment. They'll move into the top 50. I don't think any Texas Longhorn fans are really panicking right now, because you take a look at what this class could be. It is going to be special, but I really like how this class is coming along. You have your 2 running backs in Jarrett Gibson and Christian Clark. Shout out to Shard Choice. doing a phenomenal job with that running back room. Obviously hit on CJ Baxter last class. You're building some wide receivers with Freddie Dubose. The DB room, Santana Wilson, like a lot. But some more top guys are going to come on the offensive side of the ball. Like we talk about it in a very similar light with like Lincoln Riley USC offense, where if you're an elite quarterback, like you saw Arch Manning or John Tay Cook at the wide receiver position, you see it here with Jarrett Gibson. If you're an elite offensive playmaker, you're going to want to go play for Coach Sark's offense because they're going to get you the ball in space. They're going to let you run vertically. They're going to let you be a playmaker, right? And I think I said this when we're talking Texas before. As a Michigan fan, like that's why we struggle so much to get these wide receivers and some of these playmakers, because we don't really push the ball down to that last third of the defense. And so when these wide receivers are trying to evaluate where they want to go play college ball, saying, is Michigan that offense that's going to let me be the playmaker I know I am? Probably not. Texas, on the other hand, is certainly the case. You see guys like Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, I think, is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the whole entire country. Those guys are thriving in that Coach Sark offense. I expect it to have a massive, massive year. And that's before we talk about what I'm hearing for some of these top recruits. That's one thing that is probably worth mentioning is if Texas is as good as I think they can be and as good as they are, quite frankly, on paper with just all the talent they have on the offense and defensive side of the ball. We just kind of took a deep dive into this roster. I don't think it's crazy that Texas could run the table, give Alabama a massive game in Tuscaloosa. If you do that, that's really going to turn some eyeballs. Because, again, Texas, I wouldn't say Texas is fully back yet. I don't think a lot of Texas fans would say that. That being said, if they put together a season that I think they're capable of, a special season where they're one of the best teams in the country, that's when, Texas is back. And these guys like Colin Simmons, Kobe Black, Terry Bussey are taking a look at Texas and saying, this is a spot for me, especially moving to the SEC. Like Texas already has that, we are a blue blood, especially in the state of Texas. That is the program you want to go play for. But now you're moving to the SEC, and I think that's going to attract a lot of talent. A lot of these guys want to go play for the best conference in the country. That is the SEC, and I think having that move is going to help them on the recruiting trail. Now let's talk about what this class could look like, because they're not nearly done. Colin Simmons is the first guy I want to talk about. We've talked about him before kind of a lot of news has come out. It sounds like Texas crushed it with the visit weekend. And it sounds like Colin Simmons is trending towards Texas, or at least as we sit right now, Texas has the inside spot on him. And that is becoming a more attractive defense to play. Kobe Black, the same way. I think he's been a Texas lean kind of throughout the process. But it's becoming more and more likely that Colin Simmons and Kobe Black are in this Texas 2024 class. Now, the monkey wrench in here, Terry Bussey, arguably the best pure football player in the class. I mean, not really sure what he's going to do, but he's one of those guys that you get him in, you'll figure out where to play him. Because when you turn on the film in him, he's just different. I mean, he's just special. Apparently, Texas is kind of pushing that way. You can play offense for us, which I don't think a lot of schools are recruiting him. I think the Aggies and the Sooners probably see him more as a guy on the defensive side of the ball. That could be kind of a method that Texas can use to get Terry Bussey. And at the end of the day, whether he's playing offense or defense, he's going to be on the field. He's going to be helping Texas win games. And if Coach Sark can sell, hey, you can be an offensive playmaker for us, an offensive weapon, I think that would go a long way in Terry Bussey maybe saying, these guys want to go score touchdowns. If Terry Bussey sees himself as an offensive guy when a lot of the other schools don't, and Texas does, that could give them kind of the inside track there. And I don't think Terry Bussey's recruitment is anywhere near settled. In Texas, probably standing in a pretty good spot for him. Now, Dominic McKinley probably wouldn't talk about him being in the class, but Selman Bridges, another elite cornerback, top 60 national. You match him up with Santana Wilson, you're feeling really, really good about where that secondary room stands in this 2024 class. A couple other guys to mention. Jordan Johnson-Rebel, one of my favorite players in the cycle. It sounds like Ohio State's out of it. It sounds like it's going to be Michigan, TCU, and Texas. He's from IMG Academy. And it sounds like Texas does have the inside track, right? And Jordan Johnson-Rebel, man, he is a guy that can play that center field safety spot, but I see him much more as like a nickel box safety playmaker. I want him as close as it gets to the line of scrimmage, letting him get in the backfield, letting him be the playmaker that I think he can be on a defensive side of the ball. And then Zena Umazulu. He's another guy that Twitched up dude, trending to Texas as an edge guy, needs to fill out that frame. But I watched his film the other day, and like this dude, in terms of like special talent, special. Parker Livingstone, a solid top 300 wide receiver, trending to Texas. Like it is, excuse me, you're starting to see it come together a little bit. Now, I do want to take a look at who they had on campus 2 weekends ago, because I think Texas, I mean, at this point, it's just they got a ton of axes in the fire. Ryan Wingo, 5-star receiver. We talked about the picture with him and Arch Manning sitting next to each other. When you have Arch Manning in the ship, like these wide receivers, probably if they got three things they're keeping an eye on, they're like, who's going to be the quarterback throwing me the football? Texas has Arch Manning. Who's going to be calling the plays, and how is this offense designed? Coach Sark, I mean, it's one of the better offensive-minded head coaches in the whole entire country. And what is this program trending like? Texas checks all three of those boxes. And so for a guy like Ryan Wingo, I know he's coveted by a lot of programs, but Texas is going to check a lot of the boxes that, quite frankly, maybe Georgia can't check. Like they do have Dylan Raiola in the 2024 class, but has that Georgia team really utilized big-time wide receivers downfield? Not really. Texas certainly has. Guys like Xavier Worthy, Brandon Baker, certainly a guy, Kyle Flood, hot on the trail. It's going to – and then these two guys, Arian Hampton and Danny Okoye. Sounds like they're Texas leans as well. Texas, although got off to a slow start on the recruiting trail, this is going to be a 2024 class that I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about Texas being a top 5, maybe even top 8 conservatively, top 8, maybe top 5 class when it's all said and done, because the amount of players they're getting traction with, you combine that with potentially being a college football playoff contender in 2023. I mean, this thing is really going to get off how should I say it? This is really going to get going for Texas. I think not only in the month of July, but I think we could see some heat in that November area when Texas is dominating on the football field as well. Again, wanted to hop on, talk a little Daniel Cruz, another massive get for the Longhorns as they continue to build this 2024 class. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys again. Kept the hookums in the chat. I appreciate you guys rocking with us, and we'll talk to y'all later.